Hello, everyone. Happy Women's History Month. I can't see my calendar from here. Last week, I'm pretty sure, because last day of the month, I think it's the 31st. Let me check my iPad calendar. Yep, we have 6 days left. So, gotta make the most of this last couple days of Women's History Month. We're here to talk about a book, but always obligatory self promotion. What if I ruled the world? Poems inspired by music. Written by me, your girl, your boy. Sometimes I call myself that. But yeah, I am a woman. And this is the perfect for Women's History Month. And then next month is National Poetry Month. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not really prepared. But it is what it is. We'll see what I do. So, all right, so we're there for that. And then here's what we're here for today. Uh, book of The Book of Queens by Stephanie Warren Drimmer. That's the author. It is a National Geographic book. She writes for National Geographic and other places. We're going to talk about that. So before we get into the book, because I do have a couple pages I want to share. So on the cover you have Queen Beyonce, um, Queen of England. She's there. We got. I think this was a fictional queen. I'm pretty sure. I think I highlighted that page. We have a prime minister. So different kind of queens, and then we'll get into it. This might be someone Roman, Joan of Arc, someone. And then I know this was an actual queen or empress. And then on the back of the book, this is the Empress of Japan. That was the first person they talked about in the book. Queen of the Court, my girl Serena Williams. I did a video on her. So it has a bunch of different queens, and then they have other books that they have in this series type of books. I do want to read the Book of Heroines. The Book of Heroes will be cool. I don't know about the Book of Kings because I do have a bone to pick with them about that book that's in this book. So we'll get to that when I get to my cons. So it's a history book, and then we're gonna give this book is heavy. I'm gonna give Stephanie Warren Drimmer her biography. This is from her official website. She's an award-winning author of nonfiction children's books for National Geographic Kids, Scholastic, Britannica, and other publishers. Her work has appeared in videos for TED Ed, and her TV appearances include History Channel show Modern Marvels. Stephanie is a regular contributor to multiple Scholastic magazines, including Science World, as well as National Geographic Kids magazine. Once again, um, she has a master's degree in science journalism from New York University Science, Health, and Environmental Reporting program. She has a bachelor's degree in biological anthropology, a fancy term for stuff we know about human evolution. LOL. Love how they put that in parentheses. From the University of California, San Diego. She lives outside of Seattle, Washington, with her family and pets. We'll get a little bit about her. This book was released November 12th, 2019. And I do have some things to talk about with that date of some of the people that are in the book. So I'm going to read the synopsis. Empire builders, legendary leaders. You know what? I could just read the back of the book, couldn't I? I'm just going to read the back of the book, actually. Get ready to read amazing stories of legendary leaders, revolutionary rebels, powerful princesses, and more mighty monarchs who prove that girls totally rule. They're queens wielding scepters and sitting on thrones. They're revolutionaries on the front lines. They're presidents and prime ministers leading their nations, or they're CEOs, scientists, sports stars, artists, and others who are changing the world. Welcome to the Book of Queens. We begin being a regal royal doesn't mean wearing a crown. From Cleopatra to Beyonce, Elizabeth I to Serena Williams, and Joan of Arc to Ellen DeGeneres. And every leading lady in this book has had guts, smarts, and strengths it takes to lead. In these pages, you'll read about some who wielded their might for good and others who let their power go to their heads. Some you might recognize, while others you might make you wonder why they went unnoticed until now. Forgot about the back of the book. So I'm not gonna read the synopsis. I copied and pasted. So we're gonna get into my pros and my cons, my overall opinion, and I'm gonna share um, some passages that I liked. As you can see, I liked a lot, and I did write down the page numbers in my notes, so at least I can just go straight to the page. Gotta put this down because it is heavy. Number one, my first pro is it's very informative. Some pages they have little sections, like little paragraphs for each. Some people get their own big page, so it's really even in the small paragraphs, it was still very informative. Learned about so many great women I never heard of before, and we'll look more up about. Very detailed on their accomplishments and even their personal life for some women. Some women it does mention they never get married. Some just never had kids, especially if it was like a time period where that was like the standard. Even though I feel like it's kind of always been the standard, but you know what I mean. Like before, women really had the opportunity to really do anything else besides get married and have kids. There were some women who would just deciding, what, I just want to do what I want to do. I want to have the adventure. I want to have my career. I want to have, whatever. That was cool to see. Lovely pictures, which I will show y'all once we get to that section. When I start talking about some of the pages I loved. Loved actually seeing the women match their stories. That was really cool. I love the different categories. So it has, get back up. It has 6 section chapters. 8. It has 8 chapters. So the first chapter is empire building. They have like a, I guess, intro called All Hail the Queen. So that's on its own thing. Chapter 2 is Women of Action. So these are like, pirate queens, ferocious queens, so kind of vicious rulers. And then empire builders are people who were like, the first women or pioneering women in their particular kingdom or field. They have first female presidents, pioneering politicians, so that kind of thing. Chapter 3 is revolutionary rulers. They have female pharaohs. They have radical rulers, that kind of thing. Marie Antoinette has her own section. Culture shapers. So they have Mary Tyler Moore, who's big into TV and big TV star. They have Queens of Fashion, Queens of Pen, which we're going to talk about Queens of Pen. And then chapter 5 is Monarchs of Arts. They have Helen Mirren. She's a big movie star. They talked about movie stars, I think, in the last one. So they have more real queens in this one. They have monarchs of music. They have musicians. And they have legendary leaders. They have Esther from the Bible. They have the Amazons. And then chapter 7 is Queens of Knowledge. So these are like amazing engineers, monarchs of math, kind of like the science, math people. They have Nobels, where they talk about people who won a Nobel Prize, which I think I put in one of my favorites. Yeah, I did. And then Queens of Adventure. So these are Queens of Wilderness, Sovereign of the Sky, people who flew and did different stuff like that. People who want to conserve wildlife. They have people want to change the world, and then at the end they have a forward about your turn to wear the crown and what they think a queen is. So I'm going to share that too. So I love that all the different sections, and it's not just traditional queens. You know what I mean? And the index, and I love that you have the index in the back, so you can go back to exactly whoever you want to see. And then they have the photo credits. So yeah, you can, like, if you want to look up somebody you really want to see again, you can go straight to the pages where they are. Now, I might not need that, but it's nice to have. Because I did like dog ear and put sticky notes on everything that I liked. I do have cons. So those are all my pros. There were some controversial people. So when I was talking about it coming out in 2019, it was before some of these people had their controversies. I feel like in a big way. So for example, they had J.K. Rowling, who was very anti-trans. So, and then Ellen DeGeneres, who had her toxic workplace environment scandal, and then her show, got. Okay. And then I think I put Queen Elizabeth II, but I guess she's the first. I feel like they put the first in there, but she might be the second. They might have also another like her mom or something maybe, but I thought she was the second, so she might be the second. But whichever one she is, this one, and so they might not have gone like so. And then also this is for kids, so they're not gonna go that deep into their controversies if they had known about the controversies then. But I did look up about J.K. Rowling and DeGeneres, and their controversies were like in 2020 after the book came out. That's a thing. Oh, and then my another gripe I had. This is the only other con I had. They showed like little excerpts from the King book, and it's like, listen, I got the Queen book for a reason. I don't want to see stuff from the other book. I didn't buy that book, but I know they have to sell. They got to sell both books, lol. But I hated that because, like, you getting all this Queen information, and it's like, bam, here's this man. Like, I don't care about this man. Now, some of them I mean, I feel like they all made sense because they had like Cleopatra and then Julius Caesar. I think that was one of her husbands was like in a little excerpt inside the page, but it was like, why can't Cleopatra just have her page and then Julius Caesar is in the other book, and whoever else was in the little inscriptions in the other book? Like, what are we doing? So I didn't like that. So that was the only thing I didn't like. Um, so I have my favorite chapters and my least favorite chapters. So the least favorite chapters are basically about the controversies that I just mentioned. So I'm not gonna rehash it. And I think also the royal family, people started feeling differently about it. Them, like once Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left, that might have also been in the 2020s, like after this book came out. So then, that's also a thing. But let's get into my favorite sections. So I put page 16 as my first favorite. And then I love the pictures. They're very beautiful. That's my girl Aretha. And she has her own page in the book. I put a lot of page numbers, so we'll see how many we get through. But page 16. What is page 16? I think that was the Pirate Queens. I like that. Oh no, this is the Rebels. So I really love this page because a lot of the rebels are black women, black and brown women. So I really loved learning about them, especially Nanny of the Moors. So at the top. It says "Freer of Slaves, Nanny of the Moors," and it has her, birth date. I don't know what CA means, but she was born in CA 1680s and died in CA 1730. So I gotta look that up. But I loved, the story of her freeing the slaves and going back to the. She ran away and then she went back to the plantations. She would, steal the stuff, steal weapons and food, and then burn it down and help free the slaves. And they did say in this passage there's like no evidence that she really existed, but I'm gonna believe she did. Um, and yeah, and I love that. And then independence fighter for the Ashanti Confederacy in Africa. So I love that page. And then I loved page 38. Is 38 in the same section? I feel like I should show some big pictures. Oh, now that I say that. So this is Mean Queens, and it had like the Disney villains, and I love that. I found it really interesting that they put the villains, but they didn't put any of the Disney queens. Like that was cool and interesting. So they have Mean Queens, and they have the little section for all the Mean Queens. As you all know, or may not know, Gal Gadot portrayed her in the Snow White movie, and she was awful. But here's the actual good Evil Queen. And then page 46. I put too much stuff in my notes, y'all. Oh, and I love when they have these big pages about the armor that the women would wear. So they have the little excerpts of like what everything is on it. So I love those pages. I narrowed down my notes, y'all, but it's okay. Oh, 66 is another example with the female pharaohs and like what they had to wear and what they used and stuff. Their scepters and what is that called? the flail and the crook, and like how they dress and everything. So I love that. 76. I'm trying to get something in every single section. So Queens of the Pen. So since I'm a writer, I love that, and I loved reading about who do I like reading about? Oh, J.K. Rowling's on that page. I skimmed hers. I can get from my fortune, but they have Judy Bloom, so that was cool. Um, Adventure writer E.L. Konigsberg. I definitely said her name wrong. But I loved her section because there was a book in here that was talked about in Well Read Black Girl, and I've been wanting to look it up, and she's the writer. So it's the book Jennifer Headcat, Macbeth, William McKinney, and me, Elizabeth. So I love that connection was there. So I already talked about Well Read Black Girl this month, and then I love Mildred D. Thompson. Of course, the black one. Um, yeah, I definitely want to look up her stuff too. I just love that part. Of course, had to talk about the writing queens, and then page 86. I'm jumping 10 pages. Did I do another big page? What did I do? Oh, I did. Once again, another big page showing off. You know, I kind of ignored the white queens, but I did like this. I like their outfits and their jewels and stuff. So I did, you know, favorite this page. For well, who is this? Is this Queen Elizabeth the First? Yeah. So she probably is the second. Um. So yeah, that was cool. And then 86 and 96. I'm just jumping 10 pages each time. Oh, and then so they have a whole section for Aretha Franklin. I'm about to call her Franklin Parton, and then Dolly Parton. I'm reading a book, an audio book about her songwriting right now. It's really good. She's really entertaining. And Aretha Franklin, she got her own section, like I said. And then, of course, my girl B, Queen B, Beyonce. And then Gloria Estefan. So I had of course, I heard of Ella Fitzgerald. I had heard everyone except for Queen of Folk, Joan Baez. So I definitely want to look at her music. And then this is what I'm talking about with the King part. Look, right here. A whole thing on Elvis, which I skipped because he's a culture vulture. So I hated that. Like, why we got Elvis right here? He's stolen enough. So I love that. I have a lot of pages. Okay. Okay, I said 104. What was on 104? Okay, this is the Oscar page. Oh, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She got her own page. I love that because I did a whole video on her. Check that out if you haven't. It's like a year or two, 3 years old. She's the originator of rock and roll. I love that she got her own page. And then what page is next? 108. 118. Okay, so I'm in the next section. What was in 118, y'all? Oh, okay. I loved Amina. She was a queen of Nigeria or warrior queen. Warrior queen. And she got her own full page. I love that. And then I went 2 pages over. Oh, mythical monarchs. So I thought that was cool that they had not real queens on there too. And of course, you have the little black queen from the front of the book, Calafia, which California was named after, and she's on the front of the book. And then I love the queen who was a snake in China. Yeah. They said that they gave her a man companion in later years. I don't like that. And then once again, we have the king excerpt here, which I hated. And then we have 3 more pages I want to share. 147. I think that was the Nobel Prize page. Yep, Nobel Prize. And then I wanted to point out, where is she? Oh, Toni Morrison. If you can see her, I don't think I'm showing her well. Because we just talked about Beloved, and she did win a Nobel Prize. Did she win it for Beloved? It just says 5 years later after Beloved. So it doesn't even say what she won it for. But it was nice seeing all the women who won a Nobel Prize. Okay, two more pages I want to share. 162. What was on 162? Oh, Diana. Princess Diana. And then a black woman who is a green queen. She helped plant trees in Africa. And her and other women planted nearly 900,000 trees. Oh, 900,000 women planted more than 30 million trees to help with deforestation. So I love that. It's Ellen and Helen Keller. I forgot to mention Helen Keller on the other page, so we're going to ignore them. And then once again, another man. And then the final page, which I really loved because it's just telling about how you can be a queen. It's just wrapping it up. Your turn to wear the crown. And it says, number one, queens lead with integrity. The best queens don't just ask their subjects to do what is right. They are role models. They're people can look up to. Number two, queens command with courage. Some of history's greatest queens were afraid to take the throne, but true leaders must act with confidence to earn the trust of their people. Number three, queens respect the role. Power can be a tool or it can be a weapon. It all depends on the person who wields it. The greatest queens are careful to command with tolerance and a strong sense of justice. Number four, queens are passionate. The greatest queens don't just steer the ship, they support the arts and foster their nation's greatest minds. These queens with a cause and the ones we remember the best. And number five, the last one, queens empower their people. Above all, great queens never forget that it's the subjects who make the kingdom. Have an open mind, listen to new ideas, and aid innovation. Your power comes from the people you lead. All right. And then at the end it says, so keep a good grip on your crown and scepter. With sovereign smarts, a noble sense of justice, a royal wish to make the world a better place, you too can become a leader whose tale will go down in history. I love that. So that's the whole book. And then since they gave their you know, words of how to be the queen, I also did my own version of Queen of Rules. But let me get to my overall opinion. Really love this book. And I read it for Women's History Month, so it was perfect. I wrote this on my story graph review. I just copied and pasted because I was like, it has all the stuff I want to say. So it was perfect. I learned so much and have so many women to look up more about. The information was great. The pictures were great. I love the different categories and the index to be able to go to exact pages again. I did do the sticky notes and the dog ears, so I probably won't even need it. But it's good to have. I think both girls and women really love this book. I feel like, yeah, everyone would love this book, honestly. I think it's very inspiring and informative. And I give this book a 10 out of 10. Perfect. I loved it. So here are my queen rules. Queens are the boss and bossy. Be in control of your life and don't be afraid of labels that treat it negatively. Queens are kind. Treat others the way you want to be treated. A lot of people need to hear that, especially on social media. 3, queens follow their dreams. No matter how big or how small, always go for it. I need to follow that advice myself. Queens respect one another. Don't get walked all over, but give respect to those who give it. And be there for other queens, for cis queens, for trans queens, black queens, brown queens, disabled queens, and all kinds of queens. Number 5, my last one. Queens make the world a better than they found it. Always move through life to make it a better place for when you are around and when you are long gone. Which I feel like a lot of these women did and do, because some of them are still alive. They do make the world a better place. Would you read this book? I found this at Ollie's, so I don't know. I'm sure the other books, they have the Book of Kings, of course, which I have great with, the Book of Heroes and the Book of Heroines. I would definitely like to look at the Book of Heroines, the Book of Heroes. Like I said, I don't know about the Kings. But would you look at this book? I got this for $3.99 at Ollie's. I know every Ollie's is going to be different, but maybe you'll find it in yours. Will you go buy this book? Will you look it up on Thrift Books, Amazon, whatever? And would you read the other books in the series? Let me know what you think. It's going to be the last video of Women's History Month, so I thought this was perfect to end it off. And then I'm going to get ready for National Poetry Month. I'll see you all next week and next month.